Okay. Hi, folks. Sorry I'm a little late. Actually, I'm pretty much dead on, surprisingly enough. But I am going to be a little bit slow getting to everything because I need to bring up my video, which should be muted, but probably isn't. Okay, it is. Set up live chat. Hello. No, there's no point in popping out the chat. Actually, I will anyway because then I can close the actual YouTube window. Full screen the chat. And I don't want to do that after all, so we will knock that back down. Switch it over to live chat. I would have been even better prepared today, except, well, Streamlabs decided they needed to update, so that slowed me down by a couple of minutes. Doesn't seem to matter. I don't have a lot of people here just now anyway. But, and after the clusterfuck that was Sultans yesterday, I'm not surprised. So I am feeling a lot better. I appreciate everybody who sent me some well wishes. And today we're going to talk about an article that strikes me as severely dystopian in tone and potentially misses the point of a couple of things. So, with no further ado, we'll get right into that. Let me bring that up. Okay. I'm going to shift my microphone just a little bit because I am trying to pay attention to all the feedback I get about sound. So, as you can see, and can you even see my... No, you can't see my cursor, but you can see when I highlight things. Excellent. So, this is Andy Chalk talking about how an NFT expert imagines a hopeful future where poor people, and bear in mind, this is what he's talking about, poor people, serve as real-life NPCs. Now, in this case, I don't think they quite understand what an NPC is. I see I've got two viewers. Hi, Sasquatch. How you doing? Play with the Mario paints. Yeah, I hear you. I'm very low. Okay. Let's try this. This should be a little better. I've just moved the microphone a little closer to my mouth. I'm not terribly gifted with diving into the intricacies of Streamlabs, and it's very possible that Streamlabs reset a bunch of things when it updated earlier. Let me see here. No, that's the dashboard. Earl Testicles. Ugh, I hate trying to say that. He says he saw a gamer/geek with an NPC shirt at a local gamer geek store. Oh, the iron. Wait, they were actually labeling themselves an NPC? Oh, God, that's bad. And you can guess his political views and how he feels about everything as a 50-year-old. Oh. I'd like to be able to say he was probably just wearing it for irony, but yeah, he may be attempting to take back the NPC term for all we know. Anyway, moving through the comments or the article here. Efforts to integrate NFTs into video games have been largely unsuccessful for a few reasons, but essentially can be boiled down to two primary points. They don't add anything of value, ever, and there's a non-zero chance. So in other words, you could have just said there is a 100% chance, but he wanted to sound very, very pretty. Earl is singing Destiny's Child. No, I won't do that to you guys. Sing along. But the article points out there is a 100% chance that at some point anything digital that you own will be stolen from you, aka a rug pull. I've never heard this term. I suspect PC gamers attempting to craft language, let's say. And of course we come to the real issue as far as the leftist journalist is concerned. That's without even considering the environmental damage caused by NFTs. how exactly do NFTs cause environmental damage? Let's find out. Let's have a look at the environmental impact of NFTs. NFTs themselves do not impact the environment, but how they are minted can have... Oops, didn't want to go to that. Substantial environmental consequences. And of course, you won't tell us what those consequences are in the first paragraph. Highly energy intensive, the way they're created. They're minted using proof of work, so I guess this is a blockchain similarity. Minting a single NFT using proof of work method uses the same amount of electricity as an average American household over almost 9 days. Why are you picking on the Americans? Anyway, for the record, this is a British writer. Oh, this is the US edition. I did find it on the UK page, though. And I like how they like to humble themselves by calling themselves the global authority on PC games. Good gods. So the bulk of the story by the nonprofit journalism organization. Oh, now he's referencing another report. I see. So he's talking about a Minecraft-based NFT game called Critters, which enjoyed enough success in its early days that some players began hiring others to help build their in-game ownings in exchange for a cut of the profits. Now, pay attention. This is players hiring others to help build their in-game ownings in exchange for a cut of the profits. Okay, bear that in mind. This is very, very simple capitalism 101. I need people to do something for me, so I'm going to pay them for it. Okay? And Big Chief is one of the high rollers, I guess, in this particular field. So he had a group of apparently Filipino kids, referenced there, collect materials for a casino, which he then paid professional Minecraft builders. Really? There are professional Minecraft builders? My God, I'm in the wrong line of work. But he actually paid people $10,000 to create a casino for him. Crazy. So he says he has a lot of kids that play for him, and they play because they want to make extra money. So they are making money, bear this in mind, and they're in a country that's just locking them down. Yeah, the Philippines were locked down pretty hard from what I recall. But here's the thing that I get a kick out of. They're saying that it was exploitation of disadvantaged people by paying them. By paying them, he was exploiting disadvantaged people. Yeah, no. Jesus Christ. Anyway, back to the article. So his exploitation, yeah, couldn't tell you what the hourly rate comes to, but I could tell you that people make very little money. Cost of living is very low in the Philippines. So he may very well have funded... Now, it's possible he may have funded some kids' college funds. It's also possible that... Yeah, exactly, Earl. All the facepalms. And the way this writer goes on to talk about how Big Chief is bemoaning his loss when the value of the NFT or whatever it is that he was... Oh, it's cryptocurrency. But he's bemoaning the loss of cryptocurrency with earnings dropping, player counts falling off, because it's gotten flooded. There's a glut in the market. There's a market correction. Now, I don't like how he describes this, because he talks about treating these kids like they're my kids. That's very much a lefty. So this is lefty on lefty crime we're seeing here. But this is a lefty attitude. These are not your kids. Okay, you shouldn't treat them like they're your kids. You shouldn't treat your dog like it's your kid. This is treating people like an asset and covering it as if, yeah, if, like Earl says, if you're getting paid, you're doing a job. You can choose not to work. Is it a bit of exploitation? Yeah, everything is, but they are getting paid. Yeah, well, it depends, because from what the rest of this article says, and it's linked in the description, you guys can go have a look at it. But from what they say, this is It's being described as exploitation, but with the value of this particular cryptocurrency that this guy is using, let me just check. It was 85 cents, I assume, to the US dollar they're talking about. Well, if you're paying them a block an hour, let's say, and they work 8-hour days, which he did point out somewhere else in the article, they're making what, $6.40, so about $7 American a day. Earl says, "My dog is my boy. I will fight you to the death over it." But do you think of your dog as a person? I understand thinking of your dog as a family member, and I do myself when I have a dog, but I do not put them at the same level as a human or a human child. Dogs and cats get their own special category. But moving along, yeah, I don't like how this is phrased. Luckily for him, at least, people are coming up with fresh ideas for how citizens of the third world can be put to productive use by wealthy Westerners. And let me just bring my face back. Is this guy aware of how immigration and lower wages work? The only difference is that these people are staying in a place where it's a lot cheaper to live and making a similar amount to what they would make if they actually moved. Which means you're really enriching that country. You're pumping a lot of money into that country's economy if the bottom doesn't fall out of the crypto market. Sasquatch says, "My dog can help me find more neighbors." I'm not quite sure how that's meant. I would assume that it can help you make friends, which, yeah, okay, aces. If you make friends with somebody because they like your dog, they're probably trustworthy. Especially if your dog likes them. And I apologize if you're getting any of the ugly mouth noises from me drinking and swallowing, but you guys say you can't hear me, so rather than screech at the camera, or, sorry, screech at the mic, which I actually don't want on camera. So let me see if I can get that just a little lower. Get down there! There we go. Okay. Let me bring the article back again. There we are. With the cheap labor of a developing country, you could use people in the Philippines as NPCs. Real-life NPCs. Okay. This phrasing is absolutely atrocious. Let me see. Earl is in possession of human traits and he has personality. I've met a lot of people without personalities. Oh, hell have I ever. And or their sexuality is their personality. Therefore, it is reasonable to think of him as almost human. Yes, but you still put the caveat there that he's not human. And I absolutely agree. Dogs, in many ways, are far better than people. And far better than most people in some ways. But yeah, definitely almost human. Definitely deserving, as I said, of their own special categorization. Anyway, we'll come back to this. The phrasing this guy uses to use people as real-life NPCs. Okay. They would just populate the world, maybe do a random job, or just walk back and forth, fishing, telling stories, a shopkeeper. Anything is really possible. Now, he's calling it cheap labor, and that's fine. But suggesting that you would want a person to do something random like just walk back and forth is sickening. You want to turn a person into an automaton, an unthinking piece of the background. Caucasian Sasquatch says, air fryer is sorcery. Hard agree. I don't know. And I'm not getting all the chat for some reason. Let me see if I get live chat here. There, Bear. Okay. I think Sasquatch, are you having a stroke, or are you on drugs, or because some of that is really non sequitur. Earl says, didn't they do that in the movie Gamer? No, what happened to Gamer? There was no payment. These, if I recall correctly, because I've seen the movie, this is the one with Gerard Butler you're referencing. If I recall correctly, because it's been a while, the participating humans weren't actually given a choice. They were essentially being controlled by people remotely, other people remotely. There was no payment. They were essentially slaves, which, when this guy talks about exploitation, that's where my mind tends to think, okay, they're not getting anything out of this, you're just exploiting them? No, they're not. Because even if it's cheap, it's still labor that you're paying for. Not only that, but if you pay them at a rate that's better than they normally can get in their country, they made them into NPCs in the background for time after prison sentence. Okay, I didn't remember that aspect of it. But still, exploitative. Kamala Harris would be approving, I'm sure. Although she'd probably change the program so they stayed longer. Not that she would ever actually do that. Let's see. Now, he does call it an odious idea. Yes, it is odious. But it is not the dictionary definition of exploitation. It's not slavery. It's not unpaid labor. It's... Okay, Earl says the gamers would control a real person to fight. There were two classes. Okay, I didn't remember that. And that sounds absolutely horrifying. And again, as I said, kind of dystopian. Let's see here. Yes, it's very exploitative when you pay people. Let's see. Yeah, paying people to do the heavy lifting, or your grinding, in your video game of choice is nothing new. Most of us are at least passingly familiar with the practice of gold farming in MMOs. Now, I'm going to open that because I need a little bit of background on gold farming. I don't play a lot of MMOs, and I need to know one specific thing. Money transfer. That's all I needed. Gold farmers play World of Warcraft exclusively to earn gold, which is then, look at that, it's sold for real money. That doesn't strike me as particularly exploitative. I think this writer, if I recall correctly, his name is Alan Chalk, Andy Chalk. I believe Andy doesn't understand the difference between slavery and cheap labor. Yeah. Fresh ideas. It's an odious idea. So let's have a quick look at Andy Chalk. Andy has been gaming on PCs from the very beginning, starting as a youngster with text adventures and primitive action games on a cassette-based TRS-80. Well, Andy is old, at least as old-ish as I am, because a TRS-80 was the Tandy version of the Commodore 64, which, if I recall correctly, actually predated Commodore 64. And I'll just verify that with a couple of quick checks. Okay, so the TRS-80 was 77, and the Commodore was 82. There we go. Okay, so yeah, I actually never used a TRS-80 when it was new. About 15 years later, I guess. One of my friends dug one out of his old stuff, and we frigged with it a little bit. Don't think we even got it running, to be honest. But yeah, I grew up basically from Commodore 64 / ColecoVision era on forward. And I am very much a hardcore console peasant. If I am thinking about getting an upgraded PC eventually, I'll have to save for a while for that. But the plan is to actually start streaming gaming because I love gaming and I love streaming and I love talking. So, hey, if I can combine all three, aces. Anyway, we'll just take a quick gander at Andy Chalk. What was that about Henry Cavill? Oh, okay. Same thing. So he's been gaming since TRS-80, graduated to the glory days of Sierra Online Adventures. Micro-Pro Sims. I don't even know what that is. Oh, he ran a local BB. Yeah, he's a hardcore nerd. He learned how to build PCs. Good. Good. Very good. Practical skills. Agreeable. Developed a long-standing love of RPGs. Understandable. Immersive Sims. I've never been a big fan in shooters. Same. I like the occasional shooter for a break from RPGing, but nah. He began writing video game news in 2007 for The Escapist and somehow managed to avoid getting fired until 2014. Okay, that's funny. I expect he actually wrote this himself. When he joined the storied ranks, oh god, PC Gamer, ease up on your fucking ego, would ya? He covers all aspects of the industry from new game announcements and patch notes to legal disputes, Twitch beefs, esports, and Henry Cavill. Lots of Henry Cavill. Okay, I like Henry Cavill, but that's a little creepy. Oh, he's got a Twitter. Let's have a look at his Twitter. Yes, consoles, Earl. Consoles are the way. Is this the same Andy Chalk? We're not going to sign in as either of those. In fact, what we're going to do is this. And we're going to go and see if I don't have Twitter posted somewhere over here. I don't. Okay. There we are. Let me just log in as the one that I use. It should be this one. Nope. Is it this one then? That one, okay. For the record, no, skip for now. Don't bother hunting me down on Twitter. I don't use Twitter except for this, which is why this is called the Cloak of Invisibility. And yes, that is in fact the sadomasochism or the bondage pride flag recolored to an American scheme. Because, well, why not? And there we go. We will close that. And we will now go to Mr. Chuck's and have another good look at him. There's no way I'm hitting that button. The last of the V8s? You're a bit of a weirdo, Andy. He's got good taste in movies. Let's see. Decided to take next week off too. Someone tell PC Gamer. Dude, that's... What? No, you work for them. You tell them. Damn fool. Let's see. What has Andy himself posted? Oh, he's Canadian. Really? So he's... no. Interesting taste in games. Wrestling is fake? Really? Are you sure? Yeah, you know, Andy, I can relate. I'm about to take a couple of weeks off here, and I've got other stuff I have to do, including sanding a few doors. Taking the kitten to get spayed. Wow. Okay, so he's fairly normy. Anyway, I'll bring me back for the rest of the stream. I'm going to be cutting this off fairly soon anyhow, so let's see, have I lost any of the chat? Sasquatch says, while rendering video I can play my console. Rendering video, okay, so editing and upscaling, is that the term? I don't know. I'm not a editor, renderer, any of that stuff. I am, in fact, a boomer. A happy boomer, most of the time. Let's see. Any questions or anything, you guys? I'm going to be ending this a bit early today anyway. I've got Sultans later in, I think, about 3 hours or so, 3.5. So I'll be wearing the hell out of my voice. Actually, since Earl mentioned it, let's take a quick look at the movie Gamer. Okay. Now I need to... Excuse me. Oh dear. No, I've gone and accidentally buggered something here. Properties. Okay, let's just go here and see what I've got. Oh, wrong button. There we go. We'll go there. And this is not working for some reason. Okay, let me cancel that. Try this again. Okay, this is extremely irritating. There, okay, finally. And here's Gamer. Okay. Yeah, not a bad movie, all told. It's got some interesting people. Amber Valletta, is that the one I think it is? No. Alison Lohman. Wow, she actually looks like an ordinary person. Probably a nice person to talk to. Here's one of my favorite guys. Sam Witwer. Does an absolutely amazing Emperor Palpatine. Michael Hall. Yeah. Logan Lerman? Oh, it was Logan Lerman. Huh. Okay. So, yeah. Self-replicating nanites replace brain tissue, allow humans to... Oh, that's kind of dark. I don't even remember that part being in the... Is this based on a book? Written and directed, film stars, participant... cast, production, development, release... Production, possibly. High concept, futuristic thriller. Oh, that's interesting. There was a character called To Catch a Predator. There was also one called Cum Dumpsters, but we won't talk about that. Anyway, guys, yeah, if you have any questions or anything you want me to take a quick look at, hit me up. I'll probably go 15 more minutes if you've got something you want. So yeah, this part here, this self-replicating nanites that replace brain tissue, that's really disturbing. I'm actually going to kill that again. With talking about dystopian things, the idea that, and one of the things I did want to mention about this article that we covered, this guy's use of language is very loose, which is something that journalists are supposed to be trained not to do. They're intentionally supposed to be extremely precise and concise with their language, and beyond, I mean, just the simple typos here and there, bad grammar. I mean, that stuff you can kind of live with. It's acceptable, if, well, it's understandable, if not necessarily acceptable. Good morning, Scrimshaw Rose. How you doing? Thanks for popping in. Just talking about dystopian thinking and things like that. There was an article that I looked at earlier, which I will bring up again, just to, oops. There. Okay. This article here, and I'll leave it on screen for a few seconds, partly because I have to turn my head and cough. Oh. Anyway, talking about dystopias and things like this, like the way that this guy seems to feel about this individual, Big Chief, for example. He seems to think this guy is exploiting people by paying them. But as we were talking about the movie Gamer, where you have programmable nanites, to be honest, Scrimshaw, I don't know a hell of a lot about gaming myself. Earl says journos are no longer precise, so they don't have to make as many corrections for being wrong, plus it allows them to get BS headlines out faster. I think it's actually the reverse. They end up having to make way more corrections for being wrong because they're trying to get headlines out faster. Maybe not so much with, well, this is sort of an opinion piece, and it's in PC Gamer. So I don't think they're necessarily rushing to the presses with that. But one of the things I do think is that when people start to call things, when people start to say that hiring others in exchange for profit is, exploitation, yeah, that's kind of bothersome. And like I pointed out, if one of these block tokens was worth 85 cents, and I'm assuming 85 cents US, and even if they were only being paid, say, in one block an hour, let's see, US dollar to Philippines, I assume dollar. No, don't need the Canadian dollar. I need to know what the Philippines get. Philippine peso. Go figure. Good gods. So, we've got 57 pesos to the US dollar. So, let's go with 57.01 times 0.085. No, that's wrong. 0.85. Forgot my math for a second there. So that's 48 pesos. Okay. Average wage in Philippines. The average wage in the Philippines, average salary today. Sure. So the average salary a year, excluding Manila, so if you're not, that's still really good. They have 5704 for the exchange. Okay, let's not go with salary. Let's go with average hourly wage, just for the sake of checking. Salary. I want to know the average hourly wage. There we are. 260. So that's about a quarter. 260 divided by 465. So it's a little less than the hourly wage, but it's still pretty damn good. And that's assuming he was only paying them one block. He may very well have, yeah, re-capitalism bad. Well, see, here's the problem. This guy, this writer, doesn't understand capitalism. He thinks that paying people to work for you is exploitative. No, that's capitalism. It's not slavery, it's capitalism. Not paying people to work for you is slavery if you make them work for you. Or, we could, what's that other thing that starts with C that we could call it? It even starts with C and an O. There's a couple of M's in it. Then there's a U. I think there's an N, then an I, an S, and a T. Yeah, communist. It's communist to make people work without paying them. Now, granted, communism is slightly better than slavery. Barely. But, yeah. So, as you guys aren't throwing a lot of questions at me, I will give you guys a short review of something I've been watching, or rewatching again. Now, if you've listened to me and Trim talk at all, yeah, about the same, Earl. Communism, slightly better. Slavery over communism? No. Given the choice between seeing people live under a communist system or being enslaved, I would prefer communism, because there's a chance that they're going to be well fed enough to rise up. Save your voice and your soul, the black pills are coming. Yeah. Slave owners took care of their investments. Yes, but they, I don't like the idea of treating people as property. Funny thing. Anyway, I was going to talk about something I've been rewatching, and Stalin enters the chat. Yeah. But I've been rewatching the Dresden Files, and if the TV show that only got one season, which, yeah, okay. Compared to the actual books, absolutely terrible. And if you've listened to me and Trim talk at all about Dresden Files, now enters the chat and brings famine. Yeah. Pol Pot enters the chat. Everyone else disconnects. Yeah. But if you've heard me and Trim talk about the Dresden Files at all, you've probably heard us compare the TV show and the books. Yeah, I'm rewatching the show now, and it's been 4 or 5 years since I saw it. It's surprisingly good, especially if you compare it to what's considered good now. I spoke about the Terminal List yesterday. The Terminal List is amazing compared to pretty much anything else being produced right now. But the Dresden Files TV show really holds up. It is a terrible adaptation, but Paul Blackthorne is a great actor. Laura Vandervoort, if you remember her from Smallville when she played Supergirl, she played a villain in the last episode I watched very well. Sorry, by the way, that may be a spoiler. But, if I can spoil you on a show that's 10 years old, sorry. Oh, and for the record, I will show you guys where you can find that. So I've got a message held for review from Clopsauce, and I'm not quite sure why. So I'm going to click show, because I don't... Oh, it's the language. I don't care about language. Fuck off, YouTube. Let me go back here. Holy crap, there's a lot of hidden friggin'... There we go. I'm going to scroll back through. I'm really sorry, guys. I didn't know YouTube was hiding this. I don't want any of these hidden. In fact, I'm going to have to go back through the entirety of my chat and make sure I've covered everything. Okay. Saw Gamer Geek. If you're getting paid, you're doing a job. Doesn't left want to have children owned by the state? Yes, they do. well, not necessarily owned, at least at this point, but they certainly want them educated and indoctrinated by the state. Sasquatch says he'd eat he'd eat his neighbor before he ate his dog. Agreed. Okay, now I understand the my dog can help me find more neighbors thing. Possession of human traits, personality, we covered that. Almost human. I've met humans that I don't consider human. Agreed. Also, I found it easier to shoot humans than animals. Would you consider liberals and pedos human? Special category. Also, you're talking about shooting humans in my chat, Earl. What the fuck? Please don't. A chalk sucker. Sorry, he's a chalk sucker. Oh, okay, I see, yeah. Earl says he's going to re-up his coffee and breakfast. Gamer had some dark shit in it. Yes, it did. And the thing about the nanites replacing brain tissue, I wasn't aware of that. Maybe I just didn't watch the movie closely enough. But that is some dark shit. Like, metaverse, jack your ass in, Matrix, dark shit. Capitalism bad, cocksuckers, right, commies about the same. Now, see, YouTube, and if there's a manual reviewer, I want to point this out. I have every single thing I post set up as not made for kids, automatically. Language should not be an issue. Let's see, slave owners. Slave owners took care of their investments. Yes, they did. Ish. Klompsauce says, you think the PRC, People's Republic of China, gives a fuck about Yang any more than Jim cares about Kunta Kinte? Well, first off, you misspelled Kinte. It's an E at the end. But, no, I don't. But that's kind of my point. With slavery, you have much closer supervision, and it's much harder to hoard supplies. It's much harder to build a black market. It's much harder to... no, don't worry about cleaning anything up, Klompsauce. I want no one censored on my streams, including myself. But I wouldn't be much of a free speech absolutist if I did that. But yeah, when it comes to the PRC, they have a vast territory and populace to take care of, and Earl says, I make no promises for the future. I'll change the nouns. I'm not concerned. Yes, that person can in fact be a bastard. But it's not that person specifically we're speaking about, of course, YouTube, because we know damned well that that individual person cannot be everywhere at once. They're not God. For the record, this is an atheist live stream, and we admit the existence of no gods here, or all, depending on how you feel about it. But yeah, under slavery, you have much closer supervision. It's very difficult to hoard supplies and food, and the likelihood of an uprising is much lower. Message retracted by Klompsauce. Ah, I missed it. Oh well. Anyway, gang, I'm coming up on that 15-minute mark, so I'm going to shut her down here. Closing the live chat now, and I wish you all a good day, and in about 3-4 hours-ish, keep an eye out for it. We'll be doing Sultans. The Sultans of Shadilay will be starting. Since I'm an idiot and forgot to post the two things I was talking about. Oh, it's just a spelling error. Okay, awesome. Okay, I need to reopen that because I want to actually post the... Whoa, that's a lot brighter than I thought it was. Let's see here. It's Biz, Sultans of Shadilay. Okay, let's just do this. Excuse me. Sultans. I will post the link to the Sultans. Oh, actually, I'll just post the link to the upcoming live chat. Or the stream, rather. Good gods. I really hate dealing with YouTube sometimes. And I hate being quite as much of a boomer as I am. Okay. Let's pop this into chat. So here's the link for the Sultans of Shadilay. That'll be later today. In any case, folks, at this point, I think it's fair to say that I hope you're having a good day. I hope you continue to have good days and rise again until lamps become... Oh, sure. Hi, Shade Master. How you doing? Just as I'm about to sign off. Okay, you've got 5 minutes to talk about dystopian developments within our world. Go. Come to my chat late, I put you to work. Okay, no, I'm actually going to cut her off here anyway, guys. I need to go and get something to eat, and I've got a couple of things I want to talk to the Sultans about before we start the stream today. So, looking forward to seeing you guys. Oh, I did just remember that, and now I've forgotten it again. Dystopian lack of humanity, yeah. The Dresden Files, I was talking about rewatching the series, and I meant to post the link to the service that I'm using. It's called Tubi, T-U-B-I. It's free, shows the occasional commercial, not nearly as much as traditional TV, and it's definitely got a lot of really good content on there, including the Dresden Files, The Last Unicorn, which is an 80s movie I watched not too long ago, which was also really good. If you guys actually access Tubi and find something you'd like me to do my thoughts on, by all means, bring it up. Not Bone Tomahawk. No, I'm not watching that again. No, I had enough the first time. Anyway, folks, I hope you're having a good day. I hope you continue to have good days. It is, in fact, quite excellent, Shades. And rise